Welcome back. Now, today we are going to continue our dive into the archives of SCP. I am Junior Researcher L, and today we're going to take a look on SCP-003, even called the Biologic Motherboard. It's going to be quite a little bit of a longer read. And also that we're gonna go for the SCP-004, the wooden door with 12 rusty keys. But we'll start off with 003. Let's see. Well, object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-003 is to be maintained at a constant temperature of no less than 35 degrees Celsius and ideally kept above 100 degrees Celsius. No living multicellular organism of category 4 or higher complexity may be allowed to come into contact with SCP-003. In the event of total power failure, if SCP-003-1 begins to increase its mass, assigned personnel must engage in skin contact with SCP-003-1. Ideally, personnel may use their body heat to return SCP-003-1 to above the critical temperature. However, skin contact must be maintained even in event of SCP-003 reaching activation temperature, lasting a minimum until SCP-003-1 advances fully to its secondary growth stage. Personnel who enters SCP-003's containment area must first be examined for body parasites of category 4 or higher complexity, and sterilized if such organisms are present. All personnel who have come in physical contact with SCP-003-1 are to immediately report for sterilization afterwards. SCP-003-1 must not be removed from SCP-003-2 except in case of emergency procedures detailed above. Any significant change in SCP-003-2's rune activity, including pattern, frequency, or color, shall be reported within 3 hours of occurrence. Cessation of runes activity must be reported immediately. SCP-003-2 must be supplied with power via the source design generator 003-IX at all times. And let's see, we can pop up a picture here of this is the organic motherboard, and these are the runes that you can see on the rock. So the green area is to be 003, and the gray area with the runes are 003-2. Take this a little bit better look on that one. Let's move on. Description. SCP-003 consists of two related components of separate origin, referred to as SCP-003-1 and SCP-003-2. SCP-003-1 appears to be composed of hair and nails of unknown biology, arranged in a configuration similar to that of a computer motherboard. Testings reveal that SCP-003-1 to predate earliest known circuit board by a factor of 1,000 years. SCP-003-1 is considered sentient but not actively dangerous except under certain conditions. SCP-003-1 was found on a stone tablet SCP-003-2, on which it currently resides. The runes on SCP-003 are not part of any known language and emit pale, flickering light patterns. SCP-003-2 is controlled by a non-biological internal computer that contents of which are mostly inaccessible without risk of damaging SCP-003-2. SCP-003-2 is capable of controlling emissions of radiation, including heat, light, and anomalous radiation types. SCP-003-2 contains an internal power source of an anomalous nature, which appears to have been losing power since several centuries before discovery. It is considered hardware. Just read this file. It is considered probable that SCP-003-2 was created of the purpose of containing SCP-003-1. Partially interpreted data recovered from SCP-003-2 may refer to past and/or potential future LK class restricting event caused by SCP-003-1. SCP-003 was located by remote viewing team SRV-04 Beta. It appears possible that SRV-04 Beta was deliberately contacted by SCP-003-2. Other organizations have also been alerted to SCP-003's existence, possible by similar means. Despite the activity, SCP-003-2 does not appear to be sentient, based on its lack of reaction to MO3 Gloria analysis and procedures. When SCP-003 drops below the temperature of 35 degrees Celsius, both components react. First, SCP-003-1 enters a growth state characterized by an exponential increase in mass. The growth state consists of two stages. In both stages, SCP-003-1 partially fuels its growth by converting matter around it, starting with any surrounding inorganic material, including atmospheric elements. These non-living organic materials includes cells of dead skin, hair, and other biologic materials. The first stage is always the same. SCP-003-1 will first increase the mass, then takes a form similar in shape to an opinoid, a brittle star. One bristle, of 50 meters in diameter, including what appears to be a central processor of 3 meters in diameter. It will form sensory organs that appears to scan its surrounding environment and will partially convert the area around it to an unidentified anomalous substance. SCP-003-2 seems immune from conversion. The second stage describes a growth alternative which occur when SCP-003 comes into contact with living organic material. SCP-003 appears to template itself of the organic materials and will attempt communication with the organism that match its initial template or templates. In its second stage, SCP-003-1 may pause, slow, or change its growth, and will also convert inorganic and non-living organic elements into functionally similar structure with anomaly altering their physical makeup. While growth is consistent in the first stage, in the second stage the SCP-003-1 growth rate is diminished by 20 to 90% so long as SCP-003-1 remains in contact with living organic material. The percentage is determined by the complexity of the organism. In contact with SCP-003-1, SCP-003-1 appears to devote a large amount of processing power to analyze living organic material. During each of SCP-003-1's growth stage, SCP-003-2 releases bursts of radiation that temporarily inhibit SCP-003-1's growth, or reverse the growth when the temperature reaches above 100 degrees Celsius. Similar radiation emissions have been replicated or recorded via other anomalous means. SCP-003-1's biology has been the subject of extensive studies. Significant elements has been identified similar to SCP-1512 and SCP-2756, which has no future confirmed connection with SCP-003-1 and no known connection with each other, and none of which are fully understood. Technically even less understood than SCP-003. Thanks to the extensive cross-disciplinary research of the SCP-003 objects. To date, no convincing analysis has been put forward which explains SCP-003-1's connection to these SCP objects or others, nor its connection to modern technology beyond appearance and potential mimicry via unknown mechanics. A lot of text, small text, so I'm sorry if there is a little bit of hesitation from time to time. But that's what we have most part of the living motherboard, organic motherboard. And there are even addendums file, but there are a lot of lost data in those files, so it's hard to read about those without getting a clear line in the text. So these addendums will be they will be hard to read, but we can give it a try. Let's see what we can figure out. What happened? Something happened with the motherboard. Addendum 003-1. Acting on information gathered from linguistic analysis of SCP-003-2's runes and comparative data analysis, research team M03 Gloria has managed to establish a link between SCP-003 and corrupted data. For analysis of functions, SCP-003-1 must now be considered sentient, and it's to be kept a minimum of 1 kilometer from data error and resolution by product at all time. Addendum 003-02. SCP-003-2's power loss has been exacerbated by the procedure performed by M03 Gloria on order of 05-10. M03 Gloria will continue procedure. Addendum 003-03. During M03 Gloria's procedures, SCP-003-1 doubles its mass and begins rapid structural growth. Temperature was immediately returned to 100 degrees Celsius. Growth and mass increases of SCP-003-1 continued for 9 minutes and 6 seconds, to which time a sustained radiation spike was produced by the SCP-003-2. In response, SCP-003-1 returned to its normal state in 3 minutes and 39 seconds. New growth dissolved into dusty residue, which was collected for analysis. Both SCP-003-1 and SCP-003-2 cancelled all all detectable activity. SCP-003-2 did not resume activity until connected to external power source. SCP-003-2's runes glowed uniformly gray and did not resume normal activity for 3 hours. SCP-003-2 no longer appears to be able to maintain containment area at the temperature above 35 degrees Celsius without external power supplied by generator 003-3 through IX. Addendum 003-04. The procedure detailed in Addendum 003-03 was repeated, and SCP-003-1 again entered a growth state. After 10 minutes and 13 seconds, SCP-003-2 once again produced a sustained radiation spike. SCP-003-1's growth stopped for 36 seconds, then resumed at its previous phase. On quadrupling its mass, SCP-003-1 formed a coherent outer shell and body. After appearing to scan its environment and partially converted its environment, SCP-003-1 then breached containment, entering its observation gallery, where 9 members of MO3 Gloria was present. On physical contact with team member SCP-003-1 and encompassed them in... Oh, the text is growing together here. SCP-003-1 encompassed them in reptilian grown appendages and stopped growth for 15 minutes. SCP-003-1 then resumed growth and rearranged the component parts of the center of its form to the face of 3 meters tall female humanoid, which difficult words here, which sorry, I have to check out this word. I don't even know how to... Peripherals. Tentacles shifting to extrude primarily from SCP-003-1's newly formed hair and spine. SCP-003-1 then produced rudimentary vocalizations in apparent initial attempt to communicate with researchers. Lost data. An unknown individual approached to compromise containment area in company of a full squad of agents. The individual claimed to be acting on order of 05-10 and attempted communication with SCP-003-1. Lost data. Following this incident, Agent Jackson of M03 Gloria successfully restored power to SCP-003-2 and activated backup generators to return the temperature to 100 degrees Celsius. SCP-003-1 returned to its normal state in 21 minutes and 7 seconds and was successfully recontained without incident. All 9 members of M03 Gloria affected by the SCP-003-1 were afterwards found to be physically unharmed, with no residual effects besides physical trauma. The converted materials of SCP-003's former containment area did not dissolve and are now under analysis. Addendum 003-05. In light of the previous incident, 05-10 was removed from the 05 Council by joint decisions of 05 Unknown, 05 Unknown, and 05 Unknown. M03 Gloria procedures have been indefinitely suspended. Yeah, that was the addendums. Sorry for any mix-up or hard reads from my part, but I hope you can get the whole picture of it. And I think we have, there is how they described SCP-003 in its form when it was humanoid. From that, we will now jump into SCP-004. Just as this way is a small, quite fast read through, so it will be a good end to this dive from today. So let's begin. SCP-004, Object Class Euclid. Let's pick up a picture of it. It's a wooden door with 12 rusty keys. Special containment procedure. When handling items SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13, proper procedure is vital. The items are not permitted to be moved off-site unless accompanied by 2 Level 4 security personnel. Under no circumstances should any other component of SCP-004 be taken through SCP-004-1. The effects of doing so are as yet unknown, and the current cost of experimentation of I can read the word but I can't say it. Experimentation makes further research impractical. Okay. Should any of the object contained within SCP-004-1 breach containment or the facility by breaching, the keys must be brought inside and the door closed prior to activations of Site-62's on-site warhead. Unauthorized removal of keys from the testing area is grounds of immediate termination. Level 1 clearance is required for basic access to SCP-004-1. Level 4 clearance is required for use of SCP-004-2 to 13. So let's see if we just wrap that one, the procedure. So during a containment breach, the keys need to be taken inside SCP-004-1 and a nuke has to be detonated. And unauthorized removal of the keys from the Site-62 means that the one who takes them out, will be killed. So let's take the description. Description of SCP-004 consists of an old wooden barn door, SCP-004-1, and a set of 12 rusty steel keys, SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13. The door itself is the entrance to an abandoned factory in removed data. Yeah, so that's more or less the SCP-004. So apparently there are 12 rusty keys, then I guess that these different keys are taking you to 12 different places through the door. So yeah, that will be all for today. Next week we're gonna take a look on a new SCP object in the archives, and I think next time we're gonna take a look on one object. Until then, stay safe, and remember, if you see something not normal, turn it into nearest SCP Foundation. Good night.